Good morning. It's my second podcast. It's a couple days after Thanksgiving. Boy, I had a great Thanksgiving with my father, who's 90, he'll be 91 here in December. My wife and my son. My son got up to help me get the podcast thing going. I'm no expert. I'd kind of like to have one of those screens people read. Maybe we'll get there. For now, I'm using notes from this book I got when I was traveling the Oregon coast last year. Just got it for notes and such. Actually got to fill it out to use notes successfully. But anyway, I did begin using it this morning for the first time. I made turkey in the smoker. Before I put it in the smoker, I put it in a 5-gallon bucket filled with saltwater brine. It's pretty common in most, or not most, but a lot of recipes. I picked up on it because I've been doing briskets, and you use salt to tenderize and break down the meat. And so I recognized that it would do the same thing when I read about doing it with a turkey. And wow, combine that with this pellet smoker, really good stuff. Yesterday, or rather last night, people had to hang with me until 12:30 because that's when I got my smoked ribs off the grill. It's running a little late because I did some Black Friday shopping. Got some socks for 50% off. Pretty happy with that. A lot of my socks are old. You can really eat well, you know. You can buy big bags of spinach for $4 or $5. I mean, real big bags. $3 at Costco. Combine them with a little protein like this smoked ribs. Good stuff. Not pushing things like the ribs that create oxidative stress, but, you know, a lot of us like prime rib and good barbecued ribs and such. When my life's balanced, I move more towards a vegetarian diet, even vegan. It just helps your mind and body feel better. You know, you get that antioxidants and low oxidative stress going in your body, which can be a combination of getting away from loud people and loud things and reducing sugars in your body or in your diet, excuse me. I find my mind really starts to go. I woke up this morning and I just started to think of how I was brainwashed several months ago, like many others, regarding COVID and other things going on in the government these days. And I just felt the drive to get up, and I began taking notes, putting them in my little new book here, and just want to share some thoughts with you from a common guy that really cares about the people on this planet. I'm going to title this Brainwashed. Who would be threatened by small businesses and local community groups becoming significant governors of our own lives? I'll tell you who. Big businesses. People like Bill Gates, Bloomberg and his large Chinese business partners, Americans that believe in big government, Chinese government, really any large business operation, big media like Facebook's, Twitter, Google. I used to think Fox News was healthy if you're a conservative. I mean, I think being a conservative is healthy. I mean, people should make sacrifices and work hard to get ahead, and we need generations to follow us that make sacrifices and believe in working hard, not some fallacy that you can go take from others that have made sacrifices and live off them, get free healthcare and such off them. That's another subject I'll cover in a podcast in the future. Let's stick to the brainwashing behind COVID, why it's going on. There's no question that the Obama, Biden, Gates, Bloomberg, Communist China network launched the COVID virus after the Trump hoax and impeachment failed. It's pretty clear. I mean, just use common sense and look at patterns. Think for yourself. Don't look at the media outlets and other things that you've been letting fill your brain. Just use some common sense. I mean, Obama provided $30 million to the clinic that created it. And when China dispersed it around the world after the network of the mentioned individuals discussed it and said we gotta knock Trump off his horse. No one should take the COVID vaccine. It is a scam, no different than wars of the past. Someone always benefits from wars, i.e. industrialists, for example, in Japan, United States, and Germany in the last 60, 100 years, what have you. I'm no historian expert, but I can look at basic patterns. Every significant media outlet with more than 90% of significant government officials worldwide are part of the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the vulnerable public masses. You and I are the vulnerable public masses. The hoax, which is putting billions of dollars in people's pockets of large businesses, making masks, respirators, all associated equipment. Big Pharma is now slowly replacing the industrial military complex. The makers of vaccines are about to put trillions of dollars in their pockets. This is no different from the industrialists in history making trillions off making war machines, missiles, boats, etc. All at the cost of the vulnerable public, you and I. Stop listening for a moment to the media and the poisoned minds of most people around you. Ask yourself some very simple questions. How is it, again, how is it that Home Depot, Lowe's, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, to mention a few of the large corporate businesses, have not led to massive COVID spreading? Think about it, right? People have been packed into Lowe's and Home Depot. You're going through the drive-thrus of McDonald's, Dairy Queen, what have you. But there's never, in where I live, where I've never heard it on the news, a trail of people that got COVID from a check stand in Home Depot's or Lowe's or drive-through window. I mean, if it was so easy to spread, you would have lots of cases where a particular register or drive-in window was a super spreader, a cause of hundreds, if not thousands of people. But it's just never happened. The biggest brainwashing line in recent history is, where do you get your facts? What a bullshit line. Get your facts from your own brain. Look at patterns. Don't allow others to brainwash you. You come up with a simple thought based on these patterns and obvious examples. And the quickest line with the brainwashed is, where do you get your facts? I get my facts from common sense, right? The floor is the floor and the ceiling is the ceiling. If I go dive in the lake that it's outside, if I turned the camera and held onto the bottom, I would die. It's just a fact that I create with my own brain. Think for yourself. Again, how is it that Home Depot, Lowe's, McDonald's, and Dairy Queen have not caused high COVID spread? Because there is no significant threat from COVID. An average of approximately 8,000 people a day die in America. Every year, 50 to 100,000 people die from common flus. In 2020, 600,000 people will die from cancer. Well over 1 million Americans die from cancer and flus every year, or about 2,700 people per day. kind of getting up to that number, aren't we? What is it, 1,800 COVID deaths or something a day they're applying? When really it's just common deaths, normal. This year is really no different than any other year. The mentioned facts, not known by the common person, were first used by worldwide big businesses and socialist communist governments in an attempt to remove a sitting American president who has done more for small business and the individual man and woman worldwide than anybody in the history of this planet. Now big media, big business, big government is about to pull the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on small business and healthy individuals. Trillions of dollars of public funds which have been taken from small businesses and individuals worldwide are potentially going to be forced on the brainwashed masses of the world. Think about it. The big box stores and fast food windows clearly prove there is no threat, and were left open so the filthy rich keep getting rich while outdoor dining and churches are closed. Simple observations demonstrate COVID is no more of a threat than any historical flu. Think of the math I presented. 1 million people die of flu and cancer on any given year in America, or approximately, again, 2,700 people a day. There is no question that Big Pharma, along with Big Medical, is the platform being used by big media, big business, and big government to perpetrate a lie and use figures that are normal, i.e. 2,700 people die from the flu and cancer every year, right? I mean, a lot of these deaths that they're reporting as COVID are just people that had cancer, respiratory problems, whatever it may be, that often die every year. The numbers are the same. They haven't changed. Look it up yourself and run a few numbers. Right? Nothing's changed except the brainwashing, the big media, big business, and big government, and the masters of it all about to put trillions of dollars in their pocket, potentially, if you as a healthy person allow a needle in your arm at your expense. All this hype is done to scare perfectly healthy people into taking a very highly risky vaccine or vaccines by multiple companies. This is no different than creating war in the past for the rich, the filthy rich, to benefit. Don't fall for it. Further, it is big media, big business, and big government trying to wipe out the independence of individuals and small local governance. Do you think Bill Gates is a good person? Why is Microsoft on nearly every computer sold when free and better open platforms have existed for decades? Because he only cares about one thing: remaining one of the richest men in the world. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. Well, you may not be religious. Let's just use the devil as a metaphor for a moment. Bill Gates is the right-hand man of the devil, if not Satan himself. Don't let him fool you into taking a COVID vaccine so he and his associates can put trillions in their bank accounts, gain more control of the vulnerable public masses. Bill Gates, Bloomberg, and Chinese officials are the biggest modern threat to the world. And free, independent people, small businesses, and small governance. There is no viruses killing people in any way that is different from the past 20 years. The public is being duped into putting their hard-earned tax dollars in the pockets of filthy rich while they try to wipe out independent thinking, small businesses, and local governance. Stand for small local governments, small business, and individual human rights. Start pushing back. Right? Open your businesses. If you all open your restaurants at one time, what are they going to do? Start thinking for yourself. Look at the patterns. Run the math I've presented. Don't fall for this. They want to wipe us out. They want to take control of us. Think for yourself. And eat spinach and smoke barbecued ribs because they're really good. Right. See you next time.